The bill arrives the same every month, as if guided by an invisible hand with a cold, calculated precision. The numbers stare back at you like evidence in a crime scene photograph, yet no evidence has been left at the scene. Everything is clean, flawless. There are no signs of forced entry, no broken lock on the door or crack in the window. Surprisingly, there are no witnesses to this event. It's an act that happens silently and secretly. Money slips quietly from your pocket and you think, I can't believe I spent all this money. It's clear no one entered your house, no one knocked on your door, yet your bank accounts are emptying day by day. This situation is like the most cunningly planned, perfect robbery in the world. The most ironic aspect of this robbery is that every morning the victim wakes up, opens their own door, invites the robber in, and when they go to bed at night, they think this unbelievable situation is actually completely normal. Due to the literary narrative style used in this video, terms like crime, robbery, and suspect are not used to describe actual legal accusations, but rather powerful metaphorical analogies to explain the traps hidden within the modern financial system, the complex economic mechanisms, and the manipulative consumer habits that unknowingly lead individuals to financial losses. The aim is to shed light on the realities behind these invisible financial flows. Average household spending has been rising rapidly, significantly outpacing the rate of income growth in recent years. The gap between income and expenses is widening each year, disrupting the budget balance of many families. However, contrary to popular belief, inflation is not the sole culprit, at least not alone. Corporate pricing strategies play a role. By analyzing consumer behavior and leveraging technological advancements, the market has undergone an incredible evolution. Dynamic pricing algorithms, personalized discounts, and variable pricing models allow companies to target maximum profit from each individual customer. Subscription models have gone beyond traditional one-time sales, creating a structure that binds consumers to long-term commitments and provides a regular income stream, essentially creating an addiction mechanism. Triggers targeting consumer psychology have been further refined. Limited time offers and fear of missing out. Factors like FOMO, fear of missing out, reward systems, and the perception of convenience drive people to spend without thinking. The economic rules you learned in childhood or adolescence, the principles of how money is earned, spent, or saved, no longer operate the same way in today's market. The rules have been rewritten. Some spending habits have become so ingrained that they feel normal, even inevitable. However, something feeling normal is certainly not proof that it is innocent or good for your financial health. In fact, the opposite may be true. This perception of normalcy is often the clearest sign of the most dangerous traps. Here is the file of the 12 suspects. Each one appears in a different form and with a different method. Although their modus operandi and tactics vary, their common and ultimate goal is the same: your money. And these cunning actors all know that as long as the victim remains unaware, as long as they are not aware of this invisible robbery, the crime can be committed with impunity indefinitely. They know it well. I put a lot of effort into making these videos to inform and raise awareness about these hidden financial traps. Sometimes I stay up all night, spending hours to present the most accurate information in the clearest way possible. If you want to see more informative content like this and increase your financial literacy, please subscribe to my channel and leave a like on our videos. Your support inspires us to produce more content on these important topics. Case report number 1: food ordering apps. The crime is committed on the bright screen of your smartphone. Everything happens right before your eyes, at your fingertips with just a few taps. Especially at that critical moment of the day when you're tired, hungry, and vulnerable, when your willpower is weak. Food ordering platforms take a significant commission from each order for restaurants. This rate can sometimes reach 25 to 30% of the order amount. Naturally, restaurants pass this high cost directly onto the end consumer, you. That's why the food prices you see on the apps are significantly higher than the price of the same product served in a restaurant. But the real crime or financial leakage isn't hidden in this price difference alone. The real danger lies beneath the deeper layers: You encounter layers peeled away like an onion. First, a delivery fee is added to the basic food price. This is the cost of getting the package to you. Then comes a service fee that the platform charges for its own services. If your order doesn't reach a certain minimum amount, you automatically face an additional cost called a small order fee. Of course, you often tip your driver either out of goodwill or habit. During peak hours or in busy areas, an additional fee is applied, known as a peak hour surcharge. As a result, a meal you could get from a restaurant for a reasonable price can almost double in price through this system. All these extra costs are simply because someone is driving you a few kilometers to bring your meal to your door. This becomes a hidden luxury disguised as convenience. The real genius of the scammer is cleverly hidden in the interface the user interacts with. The app design deliberately minimizes any obstacles that might complicate the financial friction, the decision to spend. The user experience is so fluid that each step seems to flow seamlessly into the next. Choose your meal, add it to the cart, confirm the order, and pay instantly. This flawless flow makes the brain believe it's making a truly conscious decision. However, users are simply moving along a carefully designed predetermined channel, like a riverbed. Subscription services, by creating the illusion of saving money, actually encourage the entrenchment of consistent usage habits. These systems position you not as a one-time customer, but as a constantly paying dependent subscriber. An occasional urgent food order when you're truly hungry or short on time is, of course, innocent and understandable. But when this becomes a weekly or more frequent habit, it transforms into a silent and invisible transfer of wealth. This transfer flows directly from your bank account into the coffers of corporate shareholders. This financial crime is committed countless times every day at dinner time all around the world. Case report number 02, brand new car. The real name of this crime is planned devaluation, and its starting point is the showroom where the brand new car gleams. The moment you pick up the keys, even before you drive off, the value of the brand new car instantly drops by about 20%. Before you even reach the first traffic light, thousands of dollars worth of value vanish into thin air, practically evaporating. By the end of the first year, this devaluation usually reaches astonishing rates of 25 to 30%. This becomes a real trap, especially with purchases made on credit. You face a negative equity situation where you owe more than the car's actual market value. Even if you want to sell the car, you'll find that its value isn't enough to cover your debt, and you're trapped in a financial chokehold. The spiral of high installments and devaluation puts you under an inescapable financial burden. However, there's a more financially sound safeguard that this system overlooks: 5-year-old vehicles. These cars have already experienced the sharpest and fastest depreciation. The dramatic drop in value a new car experiences in its first few years is long gone in their story. They are usually at an age where they don't yet require major and expensive repairs. Modern vehicles can easily and safely reach high mileage even with basic periodic maintenance. A sensible approach is this: buy a reliable, well-maintained 5-year-old car, use it comfortably for a few years, and sell it before the potential for major repair costs arise. The depreciation during your ownership period is simply incomparable to the exorbitant depreciation a new car buyer experiences in their first few years. The driving habits of individuals who have truly built their wealth and made financially smart decisions reveal a surprisingly consistent result. For them, transportation is simply a means of getting from point A to point B, never a status symbol or an extension of personal identity. Unfortunately, the automotive industry has spent billions of dollars over the years trying to change this perception, trying to convince you to think differently. Advertising campaigns stimulate people's desires with images of luxury, constantly new models, and attractive financing offers. And the sad thing is that these efforts often work. They can persuade millions to make decisions that aren't very financially sound. Case report number 3. Seated restaurants. This crime is committed in a stylishly decorated setting, at an elegant table, with a menu in hand, under the soft lighting of candles, and accompanied by smiling, courteous service staff. The restaurant experience is designed to create a special moment, to escape the daily hustle and bustle, and to indulge yourself. This atmosphere is carefully designed to lower your price sensitivity and make you feel relaxed. However, behind this relaxing environment lies the fact that restaurant prices have increased dramatically and alarmingly in recent years. The same experience now costs much more. The value proposition has reversed, portions have shrunk while prices have risen. The service has remained the same, the ambiance has remained the same. Only the bill has changed. Drinks are the biggest accomplice in this crime. The ingredients in a cocktail are a small fraction of the price at which it arrives at the table. Soft drinks, coffee, water, their prices are determined not by cost but by margin. Restaurants know this fact. When food margins tighten, they compensate with drink prices. As customers decrease, they charge more from the remaining customers. Prices rise, customers decrease even more, prices rise even more. The cycle feeds itself. Habit sustains this vicious cycle. Celebrations have value, special moments have value, but the weekly restaurant ritual has quietly lost its economic rationale. Case report number 4, streaming platform packages. This crime was committed in its most insidious form. Victims thought they were being liberated, but they were entering a new cage. They were born to kill cable television. Now they've replaced it, piecemeal and more expensively. Subscribing to all the major streaming services costs more than the old cable bill. The mechanics of the crime are deliberate. Platforms consciously fragment content. The series you want to watch moves from one service to another. The movie you're waiting for appears on another platform. The sports package requires a separate subscription. They rebuild the cable package they claim to offer only by making you buy each part separately. There is a solution, but it requires discipline. Watch everything you want on one platform, cancel, and move on to the next. The monthly cost drops dramatically. You still have access to all content, only sequentially, not simultaneously. Major streaming platforms only make sense if you refuse the game they designed for, but refusing the game requires awareness, and awareness is this industry's greatest enemy. Case report number 5, fast food chains. This crime was perfectly concealed for the longest time because the promise was real, cheap, fast, easy. Then the promise quietly broke, and no one announced it. Prices at major fast food chains have risen dramatically in recent years. Even the historically cheapest chains now charge serious amounts for a basic meal. The value proposition was never health, everyone knew that. The value proposition was convenience at a low cost. When the low cost disappears, what remains is expensive, unhealthy, ready-made food. But prices rose slowly, so slowly that the brain normalized it. You pay a little more with each visit, and the question, "Is that all?" comes for a moment, then passes. The crime relies on that question passing. Case report number 6, last generation technology. Crime makes its grand entrance every fall with a grand launch ceremony. The big tech companies' new flagship phones take slightly better photos than the ones you already own. They run the same apps, they send the same messages. The marginal difference between generations has shrunk to almost zero, but the real ingenuity of crime is at work in the background. Older devices are slowed down by software updates, batteries wear out by design, and repair costs approach the cost of buying a new one. The entire ecosystem pushes you toward constant upgrades. Those who buy a new flagship every few years spend hundreds of dollars a year just on depreciation. That money, invested over a career, would amount to tens of thousands of dollars. For 3% sharper photos, crime arrives with a spectacular show. The victims applaud. Case report number 7, lavish weddings. This crime is the most ingenious because the victims remember the day the crime was committed as the most beautiful moment of their lives. The average wedding costs tens of thousands of dollars for a single day, a party, a few hours of life. The wedding industry is extremely experienced in emotional manipulation. The price of everything skyrockets when the word wedding is added. The same venue, the same flowers, the same photographer. But the price changes when the label changes. Studies consistently show a disturbing pattern. Couples who have much more modest weddings have longer-lasting marriages. The correlation isn't causation, but the pattern is striking. Money is the primary source of disagreements in marriages. A marriage that begins with a large debt is ready to be tested by financial pressure from the outset. The irony of the crime is this: on the day you unite your lives, the industry starts that union by burdening you with debt. Case report number 8, unaccounted for travel expenses. Travel itself isn't a crime. Travel is valuable, experiences are lasting, exposure to different places enriches life in ways nothing material can. The crime is committed elsewhere. People who don't have savings to cover an urgent expense are taking lavish vacations on credit cards. The dopamine from today's vacation returns months later with the stress of debt payments. The vacation ends, but the credit card statement keeps coming. The travel industry has raised prices because people keep paying. Budget travel offers much of the same experience: road travel instead of flights, rental homes instead of resorts, picnics instead of restaurants. You don't have to participate, but as long as you keep participating, the industry thinks it's right. Case report number 9, buy now, pay later systems. The weapon of this crime is hidden in the numbers. Big numbers feel expensive, small installments feel manageable. The brain processes the small number, ignoring the total. Deferred payment platforms have made almost anything financed: shoes, kitchen appliances, skincare products. Research consistently shows that those using these services spend significantly more than those paying up front. A significant percentage of users miss at least one payment. Late fees begin to accumulate, and free financing turns into expensive debt. These platforms are not doing you a favor. They are monetizing the distance between the money you haven't yet earned and your current desire. The old wisdom holds true: if you can't pay in cash, you can't afford it. Case report number 10, branded products. This crime is the most blatant and yet the most successful. Store brand detergent, often produced in the same factory, is sold at half the price of a major brand detergent. Their cleaning performance is almost identical. Independent consumer tests consistently show that store brands match or surpass major brands in most categories. Branded and unbranded medicines contain the same active ingredient at the same concentration. The only difference is the price. But brand recognition has a powerful effect. It convinces the brain that what is familiar is better. The premium paid for branded products finances marketing campaigns designed to convince you that the premium is worth it. A cyclical and perfect trap. Luxury clothing takes this phenomenon to the next level. A logoed hoodie may cost dozens of times more than an unbranded one, but the quality difference is marginal at best. The trap is set when the victim perceives this exorbitant price tag as a badge of honor or a sign of exclusivity. Case report number 11, subscription boxes. This crime feeds on the psychology of gambling. The dopamine effect of opening a mysterious box, the anticipation outweighing the satisfaction of the contents, the primal love of surprise. A cosmetics box, a snack box, a dog toy box, a razor box, a clothing box you didn't choose yourself. The value of the products inside the box is less than the price paid. The difference is the company's profit margin. You pay a premium for random products chosen by someone else, many of which you don't want. Cancellation is deliberately made difficult. This industry knows that the perpetrator relies on your inertia even after the interest has accrued. Unopened boxes sitting in cupboards, small but constant deductions appearing on monthly credit card statements. The trap seems small. It's not small when it accumulates over months, years. Case report number 12 and final, premium coffee chains. This crime is committed every morning with millions queuing in the city's busiest corners. Customized drinks at premium coffee chains quickly add up to a huge annual expense. Coffee made at home with quality beans costs very little per cup. The difference between a daily coffee chain habit and home coffee, if invested over 30 years, would approach $250,000. $250,000 for queuing instead of making coffee at home. Premium coffee chains don't sell coffee. They sell an experience, they sell convenience, they sell social signals, they sell being part of a morning ritual. Understanding this doesn't make it wrong, but it clarifies what you're paying for. The trap lives in the unconscious. It loses its power the moment the calculation is made. 12 case report, 12 different methods, 12 different scenes. But they all use the same weapon, unawareness. These traps aren't set in the dark. On the contrary, they're set in broad daylight, on billboards, phone screens, shopping carts, and dinner tables. They become invisible because they are visible. They go unquestioned because they feel normal. The common denominator of all these files is this: as their prices increase, the value they offer decreases, and because they remain afloat, they rely on people not to calculate the numbers. Calculating the numbers changes everything. The expenditure in each file represents thousands of dollars a year. When you combine a few, you see tens of thousands of dollars, money that flows silently, unnoticed, and doesn't produce lasting satisfaction. Your money either works for these systems or for you. Seeing the difference is your only defense, and the moment you see that difference, the trap can never be set in the same way again.